I had 2 children. By the time I was 33, I'd been living in my first home for 13 years. By the time I was 33, I was thinking about my own life. I think I'd probably had about 4 or 5 different cars that I had bought myself by the time I was 33. Whole lot can go on in 33 years. Now, sadly, with this generation today, a lot of you younger ones, you are wasting a lot of years, in my opinion. Not here to condemn you, but a lot of you are 33 and you don't even own a piece of bubble gum. Some of you 33 and you still live at home with mama. Talking about you grown. Some of you 33, oh my God, and you couldn't buy a car if somebody put a gun to your head. Okay? A lot of things can happen in 33 years. And in Jesus' 33 years, we get a few glimpses of what happened with him. We see that he was born, like I stated, in a manger. And then we get another glimpse of him when he was approximately 12 years old. And we saw that he grew in wisdom because at the age of 12, he was able to reasonably converse the scriptures with the doctors and the lawyers and the preachers and the intelligentsia of that day while he was only 12 years old. Another thing we see that when he was 12, his mother got on his case about something and he became subject. Here you have God in the flesh that learned how to be obedient to an earthly parent. A lot of you, 33, 43, 53, 63, 73, and you haven't learned that lesson yet. But Jesus learned how to submit. When his mother got on his case, he just went right on with his mother and did what she told him to do. And we don't hear anything else from him until he turned 30 years old. So I don't know if Mary and Joseph, if they whooped his behind. I don't know what happened. But they silenced him. And he didn't open his mouth again, according to the scriptures. You know, we know he talked to her. You understand what I'm saying? But we don't have any record of anything else he said or did until he was 30 years old. Now, when he turned 30, he entered into his earthly ministry. He began to serve mankind. He began to fulfill what God the Father had sent him in the earth to do. This Jesus, he took on a fleshly body. And he lived here in the earth as a man for over 396 months. He understood that he was the Son of God for eternity, but he lived as the earthly son of Joseph and Mary for over 1,716 weeks. He grew in wisdom and stature for over 12,053 days. He found favor with God as a man. He found favor with God here in the earth for over 289,272 hours. He felt human emotions. Can you imagine when Jesus came from heaven being God, taking on the form of a man, and now all of a sudden he can feel pain? Can you imagine Jesus coming into the earth and after working a full day, he'd get tired and had to go to sleep? When God, in his totality, does not slumber or sleep. He took on human emotions, and he walked under human emotions for 17,356,320 minutes.
Break it down, Bishop.
His journey from the cradle to the cross was over 1,041,919,200 seconds. From the cradle to the cross. And all I want you to understand is that he died. Now, Easter, we don't focus a lot on Easter about him dying. Easter is more so about the resurrection. But let me just backtrack 3 days, because if he had not died, he would not be able to say that he was resurrected. And had he not died, we would not be saved. Contrary to what some people think, salvation was bought for us at the cross. I said at the cross. You got a lot of new religions that have come along, and they try to say that salvation didn't come until the resurrection, but baby, I'm here to tell you it was at the cross. And I know it's not politically correct anymore for the preacher to preach about the cross. They've taken songs about the cross out of the hymn books now. They talk about the cross. When you talk about the cross, they say it will traumatize the children. Well, some of these little bad children need to be traumatized. It was the cross. And if the truth be told, some of you grown folk, you bad grown folk, you need to be traumatized. It was at the cross. I heard a man about 15 years ago said something that just got under my skin. And it was in essence, when Jesus said it is finished, listening to him, it was almost like we've only just begun. And he went on into this diatribe about Jesus dying on the cross. And then he said, this wasn't in the Bible, but this was revelation knowledge. And God had shown him this, and how Jesus' spirit, when he went down into hell and he was trapped in hell, and the devil and the demons were beating all on him and whooping on his spirit, man, and had him arrested for 3 days. And I'm listening to him like, now who did you say gave you this? You say God gave you this. I don't see anything in the scripture that remotely resembles that. But listening to him, it was as if when Jesus died for 3 days, he was under the authority of Satan and couldn't do anything. When there's nothing further from the truth. When Jesus died, he triumphed over death. It was so much power in Jesus' death. When he died, according to the scriptures, the sun actually got black. It was as if there was a solar eclipse. Why? Because the S-O-N, sun, he was shining at that moment, and there was no need for the S-U-N. According to the scriptures, when Jesus died, he wasn't under the authority of the devil. It was so much power in his death. There was a transformation that took place until the stars began to look as if they were shaking in their sockets. Some of you have read about it, talking about how the moon turned red, and people didn't used to believe that. Oh, that's a figment of the imagination. But you have a red, what they call it, the blood moon. It happens every so often. And we just had one not too long ago. And see, everything that you read about in the Bible, if you just leave it alone,